Hi, hello. Welcome to the video. Let's jump into it. November is Novella November. I am doing reading themes now for my reading. I don't set the TBR ahead of time, but I do pick a theme that kind of matches my reading mood a month or two ahead, and I read those books. And specifically I pick themes that encourage me to read books I already own. Maybe if I own a lot of sci-fi, I'll try to fit sci-fi into the next month, and I try to make it in alliteration with the novella November. Last month was Occult October, the month before that was Sci-Fi September. It is the 6th of November already, and I haven't read anything, but I've been going through some personal things, and I just wasn't feeling it. So I think this will be a really good way to kind of lift my mood, is by forcing myself to read some novellas. I'm going to be buddy reading some books, and others I'm just going to read on my own. For this video's sake, I am going to be specifically reading the Forward series that is an Amazon Prime exclusive. It is a series of independent or standalone novellas written by sci-fi authors covering sci-fi topics. I believe, because it's called Forward and I've already read one of them, that it's supposed to be forward, like humanity in the future, and they're all kind of a different take on that. So I've already read the first book in the Forward series of novellas, and I read Arc by Veronica Roth. This was a very short, like 20-something page novella. So far, I'm disappointed in it. I've never read anything by Veronica Roth. I'm not sure that I want to now. The writing was good. There were some really good quotes. The atmosphere, everything was very well written. It's just, there was no impactful moment at the end. It was kind of like, what? And some of the things that happened, I questioned their realisticness. But essentially, the novella is about a woman who is part of a team of people who stayed behind on Earth before a meteor is going to strike, to collect scientific data like genealogy and send it off with them when they leave at the last minute, like a few days before the meteor strike, so that they can join the rest of humanity who's evacuated. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that. Lots of content warnings for like suicide, death of a parent, death of like tons of family members, and stuff like that. I won't spoil it in this video, but yeah, just not a very impactful story in my opinion, and it is not even a good sci-fi in my opinion, because it doesn't ask a question or make me think about some part of humanity or the future that was reflective or looking forward in any way. It didn't leave me thinking about anything other than, why didn't we see a little bit more? Why didn't we get a message? It just felt like this thing that happened, and it just wasn't impactful. You know, there are novellas that are sci-fi that leave you questioning everything, like Becky Chambers' To Be Taught If Fortunate, and this just didn't do that for me. So I'll rate this on CAWPILE and decide at the end of the video kind of how it ranks versus the other ones, but for now I have only read Arc by Veronica Roth. I am moving on to Randomize by Andy Weir next, so I will update you once I start that one. Right now I'm gonna go play some Animal Crossing though, so I will be back. Hi, hello. So it's been a few days, but I have finished Randomize by Andy Weir. I actually finished it the same day as Arc, but I finished it really late at night. I wish that I had been recording when I finished that book, because my face probably would say it all. My husband was looking at me like I was crazy when I finished the book, because I like had a face on. There's no way for me to talk about this book without spoiling it, and I have thoughts. So in summary, for the non-spoiler, Randomized by Andy Weir got a 2 stars from me, and I feel like that might be a little generous because it just was not it for me. And I was really hopeful because I loved The Martian by Andy Weir. I know Andy Weir can write good characters, and I know that he can write a good story, and this was just not it. It's like a poorly executed heist, and that's all I'm gonna say about the plot. It was just it was just like a financial thriller, but not really, and the ending was cheap and confusing. I didn't like the way the characters were cast. There's, you know, a scam artist, and of course she's from India, and the IT guy is of course named Chen, and you know, it's just a lot of stereotypes, which can be fine. I don't think any of it was like offensive based on what I've seen, but I'm not an Own Voices reviewer. It just didn't rub me the right way. In addition to just not being good in the plot, the characters were whatever, and yeah, the writing was fine. Andy Weir is a great writer. The prose, everything sounds fine. No issues there, but just the plot wasn't it, and I was really hopeful going into this one since it was the only author I've read from on this list. So what a bummer. I know Emily Fox didn't like that story in particular, and now I know why. It wasn't the most offensive or horrible thing I've ever read. It wasn't good either, and I wouldn't recommend it to anybody. It was very short. So I gave that 2 stars, and that is going to go under Arc, which is what I'm gonna give 3 stars. You know, after finishing Arc, I was kind of disappointed, but compared to Randomize, which is in the same series, not it. Also, I'd like to point out the first book in the series is Arc, and the last book is Randomize. I didn't realize that. I just kind of, whichever one I accidentally clicked to download on my Kindle first was the one that I read. And I started with Arc, and that's the first one, and I thought it was pretty solid. And they end the series with Randomize, which seems to me to be one of the weaker ones so far. I've only read 2, but choices were made. And yeah, I don't know if I had read Randomize first though that I would have kept reading the series, so I guess good on them. Yeah, next I'm gonna read Summer Frost by Blake Crouch. I've never read anything by Blake Crouch, but I am intrigued. This one's actually twice as long as the other ones. It's 70 something pages when the last one was, I believe, 50. So yeah, wish me luck. I'm reading a lot of other things at the moment right now, so I'm kind of, you know, flipping back and forth between these quick little short novellas that I can finish in one sitting to these longer novellas that I'm actually enjoying. So yeah, I really hope I like this one though. It seems very interesting, and it is also the longest one in the series, so I'm hoping it has a lot of content that is not gonna make me feel cheated and like I just glimpsed some random scene that didn't feel beefy enough. And yeah, so because this is the longest one, I have hope. I really have hope. And if I like this, I'll read other things by Blake Crouch. Here are some of the things that I've been kind of interested in over the years, but just haven't done it. If you have any content warnings for those things, please comment them down below. I'd really much appreciate it. Anyways, I am gonna go make some coffee now because I am very tired, and I also need to take a shower, as you can see. But moving on to Summer Frost, Randomize wasn't it. So I'll see you again when I've read a little bit more. Hi, hello. Please ignore the crinkling that you probably hear in the background and the washing machine. Baby playing with crinkle books, washing machine doing its job. But I have a little book haul. I thought it would be cute to add in the middle of this video so you can see what I'm kind of planning to read in the future. The first books that I got with my birthday money is the 3rd, 4th, and 5th book in the Mercedes Thompson series. I think that's what it's called. Yeah, Mercy Thompson series. And yeah, I am almost done with the first book right now. I was supposed to finish it last month, but life happens. And I have the second book already. I actually got the second book first, and then I got the first book. So I wanted to have the next 4 lined up, so I got 3 of them because they're only like $6 on Amazon. So awesome for me. I love that. The 3 books, so the 3rd book is Iron Kissed, Silverborn is number 4, and Bone Crossed is number 3. Yeah, love these covers. They're very deceiving, and yeah, it's not like sexy like the covers look. This is actually just really high quality urban fantasy. I know, shocking, because the covers look like guilty pleasure erotica, which is what I was expecting when I picked up the first 2 books. But this is fantastic. It's annoyingly good. Anyway, planning to read those at some point. The last book I got is Dark Rise by C.S. Pacat. Sorry, I'm stupid, but this is the first book by the author that I've ever seen, and I've been recommended the other books that this author has written. And look at this cover. Just look at it. That is not actually what drawn me to this book. I was drawn to this book because my friend over on Bookstagram, which you should follow me on so we can talk books, Reading in Dielines, I believe is her name, read this book and has sold it to me. This is the equation for a perfect read for me, you know, just all of the elements of this that she gave me and all the content warnings lined up to be a book that I think I will really love. There's a lot of elements in this book, at least in general broad strokes, that should add up to a perfect read. So this is a 5-star prediction for me, and I'm really excited. She adored it, so I think I will. And then I can talk to her about it and scream at her while I'm reading it. But I love all of the taglines around this, and I never heard anything about it until Reading Plus Dielines. That's the name. Reading Plus Dielines talked about it. So in the back says, "The dark will rise, who will fall, who will stand." This is a beautiful book. And you will also notice that all of these books are books I haven't read yet, which is totally unlike me. My whole ideology is to only buy books I've already read so that I'm not spending money on things that I possibly will not absolutely love, because I would love to have a library of books that spark joy and not books that I felt meh about. I want to own just all of my books, just look at them and feel so happy when I see them. And that's why I normally buy books like that. I read a lot of books too, so if I bought every book I read, I'd spend a lot of money, and just it's kind of wasteful, and we're trying to be more minimal, so we're not doing that anymore. But it's a birthday haul. I should be able to buy books I haven't read. I'm just kidding. These are all books that I am like almost certain that I'm gonna love. That's why, and I'm willing to take that risk. That's my little book haul for a little interlude between talking about novellas, because I'm getting out of breath and a little winded just talking about the same things. I am actually reading, and I'm really proud of it, so yay us. And I will update you when I finish Summer Frost. Okay, I know this is not the best lighting, but we're gonna work with it. I have finished Summer Frost, and wow, okay, so I've read 3 of the Forward series now, and that would be half of them, and I've only liked this one so far. I did like the other one, a 2-star, a 3-star. I gave this, like, I want to say I'm gonna give it like 4.5, 5 stars. Of the ones I've read so far, this is the top, then it goes Arc, and then we have Randomize. So that is how I'm ranking these 3 so far. This story is a lot longer than the other ones. It's about 75 pages when the other ones were 20 to 30. And I think that space really did it well. We needed that space, and I feel like it wasn't lacking at any point. I don't feel cheated of anything. It was a complete story. I met the characters, I understood what was happening, the world was very clear to me. So yeah, I really liked this book. This is my first Blake Crouch, and I will have to consider some more Blake Crouch after this one. I loved it. So yeah, this story deals with AI in a future version of our world where there's a lot of technology going on, and it's just about what could happen in one case, a theory of what could happen if an AI became sentient and was given like a human experience almost. So that is all I'm gonna say about this one, and I loved it for the characters. I loved some of the talk of personal things in the characters' lives, and I loved the relationships between humans and AI and how they interacted. So if you're looking for a really good, quick novella, I highly recommend this one. And that's the baby crying, so I will update you when I read the next one. I have no idea what that will be currently. Okay, so I finished Emergency Skin by N.K. Jemisin, and I loved it. I loved it so much. I gave it 5 stars. It's almost a perfect book. I seriously loved it, and I absolutely wish it was longer. Not because I feel like it robbed us of anything, but because it's so good. Like, I want more, and I'm definitely going to read more N.K. Jemisin in the future. This novella is just fascinating. It's written in second person. You only get the dialogue from other characters and the voice in their head. That's it. Wow. I have never loved something with so little content this much. N.K. Jemisin has done something absolutely astonishing here. You don't get any scenery. You don't get any of the characters' inner voices. You don't get even what they're saying to other characters. And I could see this story and connect to this story way more than like Randomize and You've Arrived at Your Destination, which I also just finished. And yeah, that's like amazing to me. I don't know. I definitely liked it more than Summer Frost, although I think Summer Frost was more my taste. I tend to read things more like Summer Frost, but this was amazing. Like, there is no doubt that this is better, in my opinion, than Summer Frost by a landslide, even though they're both 5 stars for me. So we're gonna go Emergency Skin, Summer Frost, Arc, Randomize. Yeah, I really loved it. N.K. Jemisin is an artist, and I adored this. So I need to look into other series by this author. If you had asked me with no context about the stories if I would like the third person or the second person novella better, I would have automatically said third person, because second person doesn't generally do well. Like, it's just very hard to write in that format, from that perspective, I should say. And N.K. Jemisin has mastered the voice of second person, and I can't wait to read more things. I literally can't say much more than that. This story talks about racism and sexism and a future of Earth and what it looks like to live in such a closed-minded society, and what is beauty, and is beauty what someone tells you is beauty, or is beauty what you think is beauty? You know what I mean? I think everyone should read it. I absolutely do. The only people I think who maybe should not read it is those who are sensitive to colorism, racism, maybe sexism, although it's definitely making a point about skin tone and hair texture. Everyone should read it. If you're sensitive to those topics because that's how you look, then maybe not. Maybe wait until you're a really good mindset. But wow, the way this was done is just phenomenal, and everyone should read this book, especially if you don't agree with it, because this is the way that people feel. Even though this is a fictional future or a possible future, this is a very real way that people on this planet feel, and this is a very tangible future, in my opinion. Of this whole series so far, this book is a must-read. So if you can get your hands on it, I know it's Amazon and not everyone's okay with that, read it. Just for this purpose. Even if you're given to the Bezos, consider reading this book purely for the importance of its message and the way it makes you think about things. There you go. That's all I have to say about this. Hello. I have finished You Have Arrived at Your Destination by Amor Taulis, I believe is how you say his name. Sorry for the echo, I'm in a hallway. It happens. I have been an utter mess. I've been an utter mess for about 2 weeks now. I have a lot of things going on top of being chronically depressed, and I'm feeling a lot better this week. But I do a ton of reading generally when I'm not feeling mentally well, or I do no reading. And in the beginning of the month, all I did was reading. I binged everything, and it was my coping mechanism. And then something happened a few weeks into November, and I didn't feel like reading anything at all. I didn't want to use my brain, and that's just the reality of having a mind. So yeah, I'm feeling a lot better now though, and it is officially the last day of November, but I'm gonna continue on with this series until I finish. I don't care if I cut into December, that's fine. I need to finish out Novella November. It will feel so good if I can complete my TBR. I finished You Have Arrived at Your Destination by Amor Taulis. Yeah, so I didn't like Randomize, right? I think I don't like this book even more, which is really interesting. I could totally tell without looking that the author was a man, and it felt like it, and I just did not enjoy any of it. Well, that's not true. I enjoyed the beginning. There is this conversation around contouring your child with genetic tweaking. So like most people think of eye color and gender, but this couple wants to go to a fertility clinic that will actually contour their personality through genetics to alter who they could be and set them up to be a certain type of person in the future. And you get to see these 3 possible children that this man is going to father at some point, and he's to choose one because his wife narrowed it down to 3. And I'm not going to spoil what happens, but I didn't like it. It was not well written. I did not like the moral of the story. There could have been a really interesting conversation had. It could have time skipped. It could have done a lot of things, and instead it just kind of felt like a fever dream, and not in a good way. In like a what's the point of this? I'm not finding any meaning kind of way, and that's super disappointing. I, reading the book, actually didn't know the author's name or anything, so I just went in with like, just gonna read this novella, and like 3 pages in, I was like, pretty sure this was written by a guy, because the way that this is phrased and the thoughts that this main character is having just don't rub me as a woman writing a man, and the way that women are talked about, it just wasn't. I could tell the gender of the author, and I don't like that. I prefer when I go into a book not knowing the gender of the author and not being able to tell, because they're very well versed in how to represent people without being too biased towards their gender. But yeah, this was not it for me. I think I'm gonna give this 2 stars, and I'm going to put it below Randomize. So yeah, we have Emergency Skin, Summer Frost, then we have Arc, and we have Randomize, and then You Have Arrived at Your Destination, which the title, I mean, it makes its point. Like, I get what the title is supposed to mean for the book, but I just feel like we were robbed of a more interesting concept by cutting the story where we did and coming to the conclusion that we did. I don't know. Anyways, did not know. And I was hopeful for this one because the cover is really beautiful. Now we're on to the last conversation. I don't remember who the author of this one is either. Something Tremblay. This is turning out to be quite interesting. I hope this last one is higher in the list than Randomize, at least, because I really didn't like that book. That's where I'm gonna sit with this. So I will see you when I finish the last conversation. Okay, so I look a little worse for wear. I have a sinus infection. We love that for us. So I'm coughing a lot too. Anyways, I finished The Last Conversation by Paul Tremblay, I believe was the name of the author. I really enjoyed it. I think I'm gonna give it a 3 stars. Yeah, I would say it's right around the mark of ARC. I enjoyed it. I don't think it was amazing. I think it was better than ARC. So I'm gonna put that right above ARC. I really enjoyed it. I think that was a great way to end this because this was very hit or miss. This series has a wide range of quality and depth in the stories, so yeah, mildly disappointed at the end here. You are seeing the final ranking now, which is Emergency Skin, Summer Frost, The Last Conversation, Randomize, and You Have Arrived at Your Destination. I think coming away from this reading experience, I would recommend Emergency Skin, Summer Frost, The Last Conversation, maybe ARC, although it doesn't feel complete and like the conversation was fully had. So yeah, if any of them sound interesting to you, give them a try, although I really don't think You've Arrived at Your Destination or Randomize were very good. I think everyone should read Emergency Skin if that is the only thing you get from this video. And yeah, I'm excited to try more of the authors that I enjoyed, and I am kind of disappointed in the other ones and will be hesitant to read any of their future works now. Let me know if you've read anything in this series down below, and if I should try the other Amazon Prime reading series that they have that is sci-fi. I might do it this coming summer, so let me know. And please consider liking and subscribing if you like this video. It took a long time to make, and it was very difficult to get through all these books because some of them I did not like. Most of them I did not like. I would say half I didn't like, and 1 was meh, and then 2 were 5 stars. Thank you so much. Comment down below if any of these sound interesting to you, and I will see you in the next one.